This is Library Nerds with Words, the podcast that gives you the word on all the cool, nerdy happenings at Peter White Public Library and the library universe beyond. From books and concerts to search engines and story times, the Library Nerds are in and ready to show you that being a nerd can be cool. Get ready, get set, get nerdy. Welcome back to Library Nerds with Words, the podcast where you get the word on all the cool things happening at Peter White Public Library and the library universe beyond, straight from the people who know it best, Library Nerds. I'm Marty Achatz, the Adult Programming Coordinator for Peter White Public Library. And joining me in Nerd Olympic Stadium today is Amanda Pierce, Teen Services Coordinator for Peter White Public Library, and half of that popular movie nerd duo, Amanda and Ben. Welcome back to the podcast, Amanda.
Thanks for having me, Marty.
You know, I'm always excited to be able to sit down with you and get a little nerdy. Of course, we are at the end of July, but we still have a lot of summer to go. There's many more concerts on the steps and summer programs left for before the leaves start changing colors. And reading the tea leaves, I'm sure you have a lot to say about what has been and will be happening in the teen zone. Yes, that is a clue as to something Amanda will be talking about a little later in the podcast. But before we get into what is on your mind today, Amanda, we have to play another game of Word on the Nerd. You know how this goes. I'm going to ask you 3 library nerd questions about yourself, and you have to answer them for the listeners. So, Amanda, are you ready to play
Word on the Nerd?
All right, Amanda, this is going to be another little game of Would You Rather. I'm going to ask you 3 Would You Rather questions, and you have to truthfully answer them for the listeners. And all of today's questions have something to do with Summer Olympic sports, since the Paris Olympics just kicked off on Friday. So, Amanda, here's your first question. Would you rather compete in the sport of tug of war, which was an Olympic event at one point, or would you rather compete in the sport of plunge for distance, another former Olympic sport that involves diving into a pool and then floating motionless for up to 60 seconds?
I think I'd rather dive and then just float motionless because you're not the chances of chances of hurting yourself while diving are way less with tug of war.
Yeah,
I can just see
you could
so
get
many
harmed.
injuries, like being pulled, like dislocating a shoulder or
Yeah.
falling and have something I've broken enough bones. I'd rather dive and then just float.
Just float. You just dive into the water. It doesn't even say that you had to have a good dive.
No,
you
just had to dive and
then
float.
And actually, someone won a gold medal for that.
Yeah, I know,
point.
right?
I find that so weird. I'm not a big person on heights, so...
Well, it didn't say how high it was.
That's true.
It could have just been like a regular diving board.
Okay, well, if it's not a high
Now
dive...
I gotta look this one up.
Let's check.
What was it called again?
It's called, it was called Plunge for Distance.
Plunge?
For distance, and it was literally an Olympic event. It didn't last very long.
No.
But...
Plunge for distance. Oh, wow.
Okay, there you go.
Okay. Oh, it was only in one Olympic Games in the 1904 Summer Olympic Games.
And then they thought, this is really stupid and boring.
The picture is somebody literally laying down in the water with their head face down and their hands straight in front of them.
So you have to hold your breath for at least 60 seconds.
Yeah, which
I'm not good
meh.
at holding my breath.
Oh, gosh. So, plunge for distance is a dive from a stationary takeoff, which is free from spring, from a height of 18 inches above the water.
Oh, see, now I could do that.
Upon reaching the water, the plunger glides face downward for a period of 60 seconds without imparting any propulsion to the body from the legs or arms. To determine the distance traveled, the measurement was taken from the furthest point of the body from the start. So you literally just jumped off the diving board and used your legs to push how far you could go. Yeah, see?
I see.
Say way better than tug of war.
Okay, so Basically, you're trying to get as much speed as you hit that water
to
so that
go
you just float.
But you had to go with like your hands.
That is the dumbest event in the world. I don't even
In
know.
later years, the plunge was subject to criticism as it was not, air quotes, not an athletic event for all, but instead a competition favoring mere mountains of fat who fall into the water more or less successfully and depended upon inertia to get them their points.
Wow. Okay.
Jeez! That
That's-
sports writer from the New York Times was not very
Well,
nice.
Not very nice. Okay, I will go with plunge for distance, but like I said, I cannot hold my breath that long. So
I don't think you really had to hold your
as long as
breath. You
can
just
go.
glided for as long as you could go. Like, if you could, like, get that inertia and really go for it, Marty.
I still think it's the dumbest event I've ever heard of in my life. But maybe not, because we're going to move on to the next one. So, plunge for distance for both of us.
I'm just looking to see what the record was.
Okay, so, as you know, Amanda, the questions might get a little harder from here on out. So, here's your second question. Would you rather bring back the Olympic event called the Pentathlon of the Muses, involving competitions in literature, architecture, sculpture, music, and painting? Or would you rather bring back the Olympic event of equestrian vaulting, where athletes literally jumped over and onto horses?
I mean, either one would be entertaining to see.
It depends. Are we watching people draw blueprints for architecture?
I don't know.
And
I think
create
the
a
vaulting would be
painting?
like the vaulting onto the horses would be entertaining
It
to
would be
watch.
entertaining.
I think that would be fun to watch. The other one, like, don't get me wrong, the Muse
the
one,
Pentathlon of the Muses.
yeah, like that's more of like a.
It's not a really a.
It's not a sporting thingy.
It's not an exercise like athletic event.
Yeah.
But-
No, I would go with the equestrian vaulting.
But it fascinates
Vaulting.
me that they had a Pentathlon of the Muses, where people were like
Yeah.
creating music and sculpture and architecture. I actually saw one of the. I think this was a 1 or 2 Olympic event, where it didn't last very long. So there's like one family out there that has a gold, silver, and bronze medal for the
Interesting.
Pentathlon of the Muses. So,
Interesting. Let's go back to the plunge.
okay, we're back on the plunge again.
The record with a 60-second limit. Men's district plunge world record.
Yes.
86 feet
Wow.
and 8 inches.
Wow.
Women's world record for 60 seconds was 71 feet.
Yeah. It's still a dumb event. It's a dumb event. I'm going to go with equestrian vaulting
yes,
too,
I
because
think
I
that'd
want to
be-
see people jumping over horses.
And onto horses.
And
It's like
onto
it reminds
horses.
me of the hobby horsing.
There
Have you ever
go.
seen that?
I have seen it. It's stupid.
So we were watching what's the one on NBC?
America's Got Talent.
Yes.
I saw that.
Did you
as
see
well.
that? Like
Yeah.
they made it sound like she was bringing a real horse
Horse on
out,
stage and
and
was
then all of a
gonna do
sudden it was
some-
just a hobby horse, and you just saw Simon's face. You're like,
Yeah, it was just like, what the heck? Yeah. It was just the dumbest. And she was like a world champion
Yeah.
hobby horse.
huh?
It's like, I think she was Scandinavian.
Yeah, it's a big over there in the European and the Scandinavian.
It's dumb. It's absolutely dumb.
I could see Isabel doing it. Unfortunately, I could
my
be like,
God.
I could see her like, Mom, I'm on a hobby horse, and I'll be looking at it like, what? She's like, it's not a real horse. I'm like, okay, go live your best life, child.
Okay, all right. So here's your last question. Would you rather add an Olympic event for hot dog eating, so a hot dog eating contest? I think I know where the answer is going to go. Or would you rather add an Olympic event for air guitar?
Air guitar.
Air guitar all the
But
way?
when they do the hot dog eating contest, that's disgusting. Andrea Marshy, you just walked in the office.
Here's a question for you.
Yes.
So, if you were to add an Olympic event, which one would it be? Hot dog eating, like a hot dog eating contest, or air guitar?
Excellent choices. Excellent choices. Hot dog eating contest.
Oh,
'Cause
that
that
air
just-
guitar.
That's a human feat. I worry that air guitar might mimic too much on the gymnastic side. There is also
There's rhythmic gymnastics.
there is
yes.
rhythmic
No,
gymnastics.
I think there'd
which
be
is
like
crazy.
Yeah, but no, I think there'd have to be like rules like you have to like know it have to like pertain to like you have to play the guitar at all times.
At all times.
Like so you couldn't be like using your hands to like
I'm going with the hot dog eating one because I think that would be really...
no.
But going off of the rules, wouldn't it be crazy if you did have to air guitar the correct chords?
Oh, yeah, there you go. See?
Well, see, we've been talking about quite a few discontinued... I'm gonna
Yeah,
throw
I'll-
these at you. Just listen to
Here,
these.
do you want me just to sit down?
Yes,
just
come sit down. Come
Sit
sit with
down.
us.
So I'm going to tell you. I'll give you the first. We're going to go back
Yeah.
in time because I'm going to say hot dog eating. You're saying air guitar. You're saying hot dog eating for that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So listen to this first question. We're going to see how Andrea is going to respond to this. Okay. First question was, would you rather compete in the sport of tug of war, which was an Olympic event? It was an Olympic event.
Right?
Or
right?
would you rather compete in the sport of plunge for distance, another former Olympic event that involves diving into a pool and then floating motionless for up to
So here, but
60
here,
seconds?
I went into description on what this was.
Here it is.
So here, you're on a diving board with
18
no
inches above the
spring,
water.
no spring, diving board 18 inches, and you literally propelled yourself off the diving board with your hands in front of you, and you just glided
Floated.
through the water
And whoever
for
floated
six-
the furthest,
furthest
wins gold
in
silver,
60
and
seconds.
bronze.
We should bring that back.
It was only Olympic sports in the 1904 games.
Wow, what was going on in
I
1904?
don't know, but
Samantha
obviously
Parkin, tell
opium
us.
was illegal.
Wow.
It was like 71 feet for a woman
Yeah,
and
71
like
feet and 86
6 and
something
some
like that.
inches.
So which one would you go for? The
I would do the plunge.
See? See?
see?
100%.
I was doing the tug of war. Well, no, I said the plunge.
Plunge.
I can't hold my breath that long.
You don't
so that
have
would
to.
be really
You don't
difficult.
have. It didn't say you didn't have to hold
That's
your breath.
true.
You could tilt your head, but you're gonna lose a little bit of motion.
Uh-huh.
But like 60 seconds. Psh, by the time you jump that board and you're gliding, 60 seconds is nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's the next question.
Amazing.
So,
Amazing. All right.
The next question is: would you rather bring back the Olympic event called the Pentathlon of the Muses, involving competitions
I know,
in
right?
literature, architecture, sculpture, music, and painting? So that was the Pentathlon of the Muses. Or
No athletics whatsoever.
would you rather
No
bring
athletics.
back the Olympic event? This is my favorite of equestrian vaulting, where athletes jumped over or onto horses.
Hell yeah.
See, that's what I said too.
Hell yeah. I don't want to watch another Jeopardy.
It's like landscape artist of the year and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. It would be a dope program to watch outside of the Olympics, but
You want to see
You
people
want to
jumping
over horses?
Yes,
over
right?
horses and onto horses.
Yeah, where can I train for that? All right, these are great questions.
And then, you know what?
See, we also talked about the hobby horsing too.
Oh God,
Did I send you that reel?
hobby horses.
one?
It's so stupid.
What's real?
Okay.
It's a real thing.
Oh yeah,
It
yeah.
is,
No,
yeah.
It's a real
we were
thing.
talking about how it was on America's Got Talent.
Oh.
Someone like came out and she was like, and they showed
sounded
they
like-
showed this clip, and there was horses all around her, and she was like, I'm the world champion. She's literally the former world champion of horse. And then she comes out and is like running around the stage with a hobby horse between her legs, and I'm like, what the freak is this?
Yeah, that's magic. That's what that
That's
is.
not magic. Come on, that's almost as bad as plunge for distance.
No, that's gonna be fun. I'm gonna try that right after I vault over my horses. Hold my horses. So, thank you for inviting me into this segment
You're
of
welcome.
Library Nerds with Words. It's truly my favorite, and I didn't know I was gonna learn so much
There
today.
you go.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
There you go.
thank you.
Yeah.
Pentathlon of the Muses. Maybe we should
Yeah.
do that here at the library and have a pentathlon of the Muses.
Staff in service day.
There we go.
You know what?
Plunge for distance at staff in service day.
I'm all for like we should do needle felting for staff in service day, but now I also have all this Nerf equipment. We could do Nerf.
Plunge for distance Jello. You know.
I had to like eat your way through it.
Bye, listeners.
All right. Wow. Wow. This went off the rails really quickly.
Hey, I haven't sworn yet.
That's true. All right, so we have come to the end of this Olympic-sized edition of Word on the Nerd, this time with Amanda Pierce, Teen Services Coordinator at Peter White Public Library, and a guest spot from Andrea Marsh, the Communications Coordinator here at PWPL. And now we are going to find out what subject has Amanda thinking about books and bubble tea, among other things, right now. Yes, that is another clue about today's topic. So, Amanda, it is time for you to share the word. All right, Amanda, what is on your mind today?
Oh, we're just going to wrap up some summer reading here,
Summer
Marty.
reading,
Oh, my
yes.
goodness, we're almost done. I've got
It's
one more.
hard to- But summer's not over.
No, well, I don't know. Like, it's already August.
Don't go there. Don't
It's
go
August
there.
next week.
Don't go there. It's
no,
not
I've-
over. We got a homework.
I have like one program left.
Mm.
It's wild.
But it's been successful.
Oh yeah, completely. Everything has been full. Registrations had wait list. What did we do this summer? We did Hot Plate was the first one,
Yeah.
and the kids got to build their own mug or bowl. And then paint them. They were fired and they picked them up. I think there's a couple that accidentally got separated from the main bunch, so we're waiting for those to come back. Then we did the escape room, which you and Andrea Marshy covered for me because I
Yes.
was in New York City.
Yes.
Or was I? Oh, I was at the New York Public City Library that day.
You were roasting that
Oh God,
day.
it was so
Yeah.
hot. But I did get to go to the public library, and it was
Yeah.
beautiful and wonderful. And yeah, I want to go back just to the library so I could spend more time there.
Oh.
And then we did Game On came back, which is always wildly popular.
Really popular. You did henna.
We did henna. We did felting.
Felting. That
With
was
Jody.
really
That was
popular.
really cool. The kids all got to make their own little felted red and white mushrooms.
So,
From start to finish. And there was a couple kids that made like one of the kids made like 5 in various sizes. So like
cool.
tiny to big.
It's really amazing.
It is, and they're just so chill about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're just like, and there was only one bleeder, which made me very happy because I was sitting there holding my breath. Oh my gosh, kids with needles and like literally stabbing needles into
Yeah.
felt and
Those
foam.
needles have barbs on them.
Yes, they
too,
do.
So when they go in and you pull them out,
You,
it hurts. It hurts.
I only stabbed myself twice this time,
Yeah.
and I made 2. Mine were about 5 inches tall.
Wow, you made some big ones.
One was 5, one was 4. Steph has one on her desk, and then I have one on my bookshelf.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it was so fun with the kids. And then we did cooking class this week. We made pot stickers.
stickers,
Oh,
yeah.
so good. The kids, they made the dough, and then they mixed all the filling up. We did a pork filling, and then we did a vegetarian filling. The one class did a mushroom vegetarian filling, and I can't remember the other one. I can't remember if there's mushrooms in theirs or not. But we did 2 separate classes, so we could get in more kids. And then we wrapped up the last game on yesterday, which you got to experience. And
Yes.
isn't it fun listening to those kids play
Oh
Smash
my
Bros?
gosh. Yeah, there might have been a few words that slipped out of their mouths that
And you just
shouldn't
have to
been.
remind them, hey, we're inside in a
We're
public
inside
building.
in the public library, so please,
They love
watch
their
your
and
language.
it's nothing bad.
No.
but it's like
You get excited. They
get
get
so
swept up.
they do. They love that game.
I
I don't get it. I mean, it's Mortal Kombat. It's like when our generation played Mortal Kombat
Yeah.
on the
still don't get that either.
the video game Mortal Kombat, like the big arcade game. Oh,
Yeah.
that was so fun. And then next week we have Nerf Blast.
Yeah. And if you dropped off your reading logs
Yep.
this week, you need to come in next week to pick
Yep.
up your gift cards. We have the ones that turned them in a little earlier.
Yeah.
We have those gift cards. Amanda
Yeah,
has those at
we've
her,
turned
at her
in.
desk.
I think I had just over 170 kids register this year. I don't have the exact numbers. And then when my first batch of gift cards that I went out and purchased, there was 39 kids that I got, and then I got like another 10 or 15 in.
Okay.
So I mean, they'll come in. I'm not worried. But
Yeah.
yeah, Bubble Tea and Snowbound were clearly the big winners this
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
And I'm still seeing Bubble Tea, Snowbound, Donkers.
And you got Iron Golem, too,
Iron
right?
Golem's on
Yeah.
there, yep. 231 West, Provisions.
Yeah. So
Their gelato's so good.
I love the gelato there.
Yeah.
Although I had a friend who just came back from Italy, and they said the gelato in Italy is
way better.
Way better.
Well, yeah, 'cause-
but we're in the UP. So
This is amazing
we're
gelato for
we're
the
in
UP.
Little Italy, and UP, so.
What I really want's a cannoli, and I have not
cannolis.
found a good one yet
Really?
locally.
Yeah, my family,
We grew
come
up.
all the time. When my brothers and sisters, I don't have a whole lot of recollection of Detroit because we moved when I was very young. But there was an Italian bakery that we went to all the time, and the cannolis was the thing. Yeah,
I remember like a couple. My mom's side of my mom's side of the family, the maternal side. Yeah, her grandfather came over on the boat from when he was little, and they lived in Chicago in the when all that was going on.
Well, there was
my mom
plenty of cannolis there.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Well, my mom remembers going to Chicago to visit her cousins, and she remembers you didn't sit on the furniture because it was all plastic, and they remember playing in the room behind the room.
The room behind the room.
So you know you had your living room with all the plastic, and then you had the room behind that. So I remember those stories. But no, we got cannolis as kids, and I remember there was a bakery, and we lived in Madison, Wisconsin. There's a bakery, and whenever I went in to get them there, because we lived there for like 3 years, and the guy's like, "You eating them today?" And I'm like, "Nope, taking them home." And he would literally put all your shells in one big container, slap the lid, and tape it shut, so no air extra would get in there. And then he'd take the other container and fill it full of the cannoli filling, and then your chocolate chips and your pistachios in a third.
Separate.
And you never ever finish that filling off because, like, I swear, he gave you like twice as much filling, and we'd just sit there and eat it with a spoon.
Well, and plus,
So good.
yeah, if you don't eat a cannoli right away, it
gets
gets
soggy and,
really
like,
disgusting.
I won't say which business pre-fills their cannolis here, but I got super excited. I'm like, oh, I'm going to have a cannoli. And I bit into it, and I spit it right back out because I'm like, why is it soggy?
Yeah. Cannolis
So
literally
soggy.
have to be fresh if you don't eat them that day. Yeah, actually, you have to like eat them within hours, or else
Like,
they
you
get kinda
fill
gross.
them and then eat them.
Right.
You don't fill them and let them sit.
Right. Exactly.
You can let a cream horn sit, but you can't let a cannoli sit.
No, it's just so.
Yeah, it was really. I just want a really
good.
good cannoli.
And let's talk a little bit about big move for Teen Zone as
yeah.
well. Let's let people know about that.
Yeah, and starting next week, I'm going to start painting the new Teen Zone area.
Right.
Ooh. It's going to mimic the blue. It'll be the gray again because I personally like the gray because it matches with anything I hang on the walls. And then we're going to, I can't remember what the blue's called, but it looks like the brand blue. So it'll be this really pretty, vibrant, bright blue that will go on the wall and a couple of the pillars. But we're moving the Teen Zone from where I'm currently at to where the AV collection is at, right beside Circulation, and then all the stuff beside Circulation, the art prints, Peter Waite's table, movies, audiobooks,
Blu-rays,
all that,
audiobooks.
CDs is going to be moving where the Teen Zone's at. So we'll have a couple sitting areas over there, and then everything from the Teen Zone's going over there. And I think I'm really excited for it.
I think it's going to be a really good move.
Yeah.
And
It's just going to be a lot of work.
yeah, well, it is. It's going to be a couple weeks of intensive moving.
Yeah, and I'm going to paint next week part of it, and then I take a vacation. And then that gives everybody time to wrap up summer reading because we're wrapping up summer reading on top of that.
Yeah.
I'll be thinking about the entire time I'm camping, of course. I'll be like, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that. No, it will be fine. And then we come back August 12th to move the Teen Zone. And we've got a plan. So if there's any teen volunteers that are listening that would want to come, contact me. Shoot me an email. Find that all on the website. We're looking for some teen volunteers.
Let me tell you, the teens, they are when it's about lifting and moving.
Yeah, they're
stuff,
all about
they
it.
are all about it. They help with the Friends of the Library's book sale all the time.
Yeah.
And they are so fast.
I think our record moving time was like 35 minutes.
Yeah, it's amazing. That's not just a few boxes of books.
No,
That's like books. I mean, tons and tons of
like
books.
a few hundred boxes at
Right.
least. And then
And
they help
so-
unpack it and set it up.
Right. So I mean, it's going to be labor intensive for a few weeks, but overall,
I think it will be
just going to be a fantastic move.
Yeah, and then we have to record a podcast in there.
We will record a podcast in there, and the teens will have their own space.
Yep.
And it's going to be really, really fantastic. And then people will also have more space at the front of the library where they can sit and whatever they want to do.
Yeah, long-term goal is to eventually get some cabinetry over there and a sink So I can do more programs up there and just have more of an enclosed space for the teens that they can take ownership of, which I think is really great. They all really like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like we've had a lot of kids come in the doors for programming this year, and more kids are coming in. So I think it's really good to have a bigger, and it's a slightly larger imprint too that we're gonna take over. So my footprint will be, I think, get 400. So 400 more square feet. I can't remember. Bruce did the math, and I'm gonna get a few more shelves for books, which will be really nice. So I can expand the graphic novel collection. And then, I won't have that big wonky display that I have to move for my new books are on. If you've come in the Teen Zone, you see where the new books are. It's a display from one of the stores in the mall.
Yeah.
I don't remember what store it came from. It was when we were at the mall, and it came back with us. And it works really well, but it's very heavy when you have to move it for programming. So, yeah.
Lots of things going on with the Teen Zone, new things, old things.
And then we're going to take a break from programming in September.
Come back
in October. Yep, we're going to do some cooking classes. I already know the first cooking class.
Oh, what is the first cooking class?
We're going to make pierogies.
I love pierogies.
I'm so excited.
I love pierogies.
We're going to try to get all the classes set for cooking this year. We have the date set. The kids were throwing out ideas left and right when we had classes past weekend, what they wanted to do. And one of the moms is like, can we make pierogies? And all the kids were like, what's a pierogi? And we explained, like, it's dough filled with potatoes and cheese. I'm like, yeah, let's make pierogies. And I'm like, yes. We are also talking about making gnocchi.
Oh, gnocchi.
Yep, with like a simple like sauce to go with it. Because, I mean, again, more potatoes. And flour, I know, right?
All those things. They're so good for you, too.
Well, and, like, it's one of those things where the kids, it's all hands-on. Like, when we made pot stickers, there was a kid mixing up the dough, and then, so you had the dough kid, and then you had the chopping kid, and then you had the one measuring out all the dry and the wet ingredients.
So this was like an assembly line.
So, like, every kid had something to do, and no one was bored. And so, and then they all...
I assume pierogies would be sort of the same.
I'm guessing. Yeah, I don't know. I've never actually made them. David's family's made them all the time. Because they're Czech and Polish, and so, you know.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so I think it'll be really fun. We got everything set and lined up, but it was just... The pot sticker class, I think, was one of my favorites. One of the kids made a dinosaur-shaped one.
Yeah, you
the
showed me a
Stegosaurus
picture
one,
there.
and she was so proud of it, and it looked like a little Stegosaurus. It was so cute.
And then we're talking about another Merry Movie Mayhem coming up in the fall as well. We're talking about maybe a Halloween movie event as well.
I think, I mean, especially with Beetlejuice 2 coming out.
Yeah. So it's going to be good. And, I think that Beetlejuice, it's coming up on its 30th anniversary.
Is
or
that 30th?
No, 40th anniversary.
I'm almost...
Yeah,
I'm almost that number, so I know it was in the 80s.
It's a 40th anniversary that's coming up. So very, very close. So lots of stuff coming up. Big moves, big changes, but very exciting changes for the Teen Zone. So that's the word from Amanda Pierce, Peter White Public Library's Teen Services Coordinator, on what's been going on in the Teen Zone and what is going to be going on later in the Teen Zone later this year. But before I let you leave the Nerd Oval office, Amanda, I need to find out what you've been reading recently. Something that you think listeners should run to the library and pick up off the shelf. So, have you read anything good recently, Amanda?
Yeah, I gotta look up the book.
Okay.
It's called This Book Won't Burn by Samira Hamed.
Okay.
They wrote a few other books that I've really enjoyed. Was it Internment? I can't remember. The name's off the top of my head. I'm sure if I look up the author, it's going to... Hollow Fires was the one I really loved by them. But they write...
Now, is this a graphic novel?
No, this is an actual teen fiction book. I actually read a book. I haven't been just reading.
I know, you've been trying to keep up and catch
it's just
up
so
with
much.
Teen...
No, and so Hollow Fires was based on the 1920s, 1930s murder of a kid by the two 18, 19-year-olds that killed him just to kill him to see if they could get away with it. And what got them caught was their glasses.
Leopold and
Yeah,
Loeb.
yes.
the Leopold
So
and
that
Loeb
one,
murders.
Hollow
Yeah.
Fires, was based off that. So This Book Won't Burn is based off of book bans and challenges in the schools.
Okay.
So the main character was living in Chicago, and her parents all of a sudden get divorced. So her mom and her younger sister moved to a really small town in Illinois. And the library is her, like, one safe place. She's on, like, her last 3 months of school. And there's one other student who is of the same race as she is, and everybody else is white. There may be, I think there's one or two other African-American students. She's Indian or Muslim? Oh, I can't remember off the top of my head. That's really bad. I've been reading a ton of other graphic novels. But so, yeah. And she right away gets slammed as the problem child.
Oh, yeah.
Because she's like, why is this book not on the shelf? Why is this book not on the shelf? And it ensues that they start removing them, and then so they go off to school and start reading them, and then she gets in trouble for that, and then there's a lot of racism in there. Someone tries to burn down their house. There's a lot of little free libraries with books of
What books? Yeah.
Yep. So it's a really, really good book. Called out the love interest right away, and I'm like, yep, this is going to be a thing. So yeah, it was really good. It had a really good outcome. It did reference the library in Michigan being Patmos Library
Oh, yeah.
being defunded, which was really kind of fun. So it was really like took current events, and like there's a lot of authors that have been challenged or banned, it was just a really well written book.
And it's the book. This book won't burn by Samira Ahmed. You said
It's H-A-A-H. Yeah,
A-H. Okay,
Yeah.
Ahmed.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's on the new shelf. It was a wonderful book. I really loved it.
And I mean, and it is written for teens, but obviously adults can enjoy
Yeah,
this as
no,
well.
it was really good. And then I read a graphic novel I would recommend. It's The Deep Dark.
The Deep Dark.
I think it's, The Deep
Okay.
Dark
Deep Dark.
by Molly Ostertag.
Okay.
It's a queer graphic novel with some, I don't really say if it's Latina, but they like live in the desert, and there's some folklore with like demons and stuff.
Oh,
It
wow.
was really
so kind
good.
of magical, real stuff going
Some
on.
magical realism, really good storyline, really like facing your inner demon and drag. I don't know, it was really,
Okay.
really good.
So that's The Deep Dark by Molly Ostertag, did you say? Mm-hmm. All right. And
So-
then the other one was This Book Won't Burn
Yeah.
by Samira Ahmed.
Yeah.
All right. So there you go. Those are Amanda's recommendations of books that you should pick up off the shelf. And we have come to the end of this summary Olympic-sized edition of Library Nerds with Words. I want to thank Amanda Pierce, Peter White Public Library's Teen Services Coordinator, for taking time out of her really busy schedule to stop by Planet Nerd. Never fear, we are planning to have another movie roundtable charcuterie board episode with Ben and maybe a special guest.
It's the movies of
soon.
1999.
Yeah, well, that's the one we're going to do, so yes, there we go.
We're
with
very
a special
excited about
guest.
this. How many movies did we have to pick from, though, Marty?
There was tons of movies.
Because it was
in
like the year of...
1999.
And David and I were sitting there talking about, it's because everybody thought the world was ending because of Y2K.
That's
and I'm
it.
pretty sure that's why, there was, over 100 movies that came out.
And
Oh.
undisputed, like most people say that it was one of the best years for movies, is 1999. All right. So that will be coming up before the end of the summer. But next week, I believe that our guest is going to be nerd superstar Lynette Succo, Assistant Head of Adult Services. And if it's not Lynette, I might just grab whoever is walking by my office door and pull them in and make them sit down and talk to me. So anyway, until that time, everyone, stay nerdy. Thank you for listening to Library Nerds with Words, Peter White Public Library's weekly podcast, giving you the word on what's cool at the library. The theme for the podcast is Happy Clappy by John Bartman, used courtesy of Pixabay. This episode was written and produced by Martin Acketts and sponsored by Peter White Public Library. Until next week, pick up a good book, listen to some good music, watch a good movie, attend a great event. And remember, library nerds are the coolest people around.